Thank you again for being here. That tune was Jammin' with Charlie, and it featured Ella Hakes on flute, Ian Bernius on trumpet, Lincoln Hope on trombone, and Mason Heigl on trombone, and Carter Auerbach on trumpet. You can give them another round of applause. One of my favorite things about teaching jazz band every year is that we start to teach the students how to take improvisation solos, which really, they make it look so easy, but really there is a lot to it. Not only like music theory and instrumental technique, but also just straight up courage and bravery, because it takes a lot to willingly volunteer, uncoerced, somewhat bribed, but uncoerced for the most part, and volunteer to play a 4, 8, or 12 bar solo when you literally have no music in front of them. It's a real scary thing, and we've come a long way, and I'm super proud of these kids. Even more so on the next tune that we're going to play. This takes a little bit of explanation. It's called Majority Rules, and it is a tune, but it is like, the idea of the tune is pretty advanced for beginner musicians. Lots of them are learning, the ropes of jazz. What we did is we got a melody, and that's it. These kids learned, the only music they really had was just the melody written out for them, so we started by learning the melody. And then we applied a lot of jazz theory. We learned seventh chords, and we kind of made this tune up as we went. We had the SU professor, Dr. John Cajola, come down from SU and work with these kids to help them come up with backgrounds on their own, which is the harmony parts that fit with the melody. We came up with the form on their own, when we're going to play the melody, when they're going to play the backgrounds, what kind of texture we're going to make, and then again interspersed it with soloists and a shout chorus. So this took a lot of mental bandwidth, and I am really super proud of the work they've done on this tune. I forgot to mention, this type of jazz concert, this type of concert is not like a normal band concert. They will play better and they will play more excited the louder you are. So please don't feel like you have to be polite. If your child does something that you like, or somebody else's child does something that you like, please start cheering and clapping and hooting and hollering. You can throw things if it's money, but other than that, maybe hold that till the end. But yeah, this next one is called Majority Rules. next trick, we are going to play Ballad for a Blue Horn, which in jazz ballad is generally a slow, beautiful, lyrical song, which actually is quite a challenge. Because, back in the day, slow, beautiful songs were much more prevalent in pop music, so it was in students' ears more. Nowadays, trends have kind of leaned more towards like faster songs with faster subdivisions. Ballads really aren't as popular in pop music or rock music as they once were, so playing this stuff is quite challenging. This blue horn is going to be played by our very own 7th grade Eric Newsom on the flugelhorn. So prepare yourselves. One more time for Eric Newsom on the flugelhorn. All right, so for our next number, we're going to be doing Uncle Mila's sideshow, and I'll invite our special guests to come up and join us while I yammer for a moment and vamp for time. One of my favorite things at school now is pastime is finding adults that used to play instruments and politely badgering them to come play with us. And it's been a real treat. We've had people the past couple years come and play a number with us, and this year the students have come to expect it, so I mentioned it, and they listed me off a laundry list of teachers that we should start encouraging to come and play with us. So we have teachers and staff, and Miss Charlo said that next year she is definitely going to break out her flute and join us. She may. She's back there. She's giving me the thumbs up. That's what she's giving me. Absolutely. So one of my favorite things is just music is all about connection and working towards a common goal, and so nothing warms my heart more than like creating an opportunity for family and friends and all of us to come together and play. So you will hear it in this next tune. It's going to feature a whole bunch more soloists as soon as I pull up my list, and this is Uncle Milo's Sideshow. One more time for our special guest. It makes me super proud about this group. This is my favorite brag of this group. So if you're in this group right now, raise your hand if you're playing your main instrument that you play in band. Raise your hand, get it up there. Raise your hand if you're not. If you're not playing, if you learned a brand new instrument. And so, yes. It is very very much me just catching people in the hallway and be like, hey, you want to play this instrument? It will look really good on you. And they've done a really great job of it on top of learning style and improvisation and all the things. So here is our last number. It is Spider-Man. It's going to feature Reese and Carter taking a spidery solo.